Hey guys, I just finished firing this sculpture. This is the last one that I sculpted, and you can see that this is a terracotta sculpture. So I used grogless clay, which is a little bit harder to fire. And I was very surprised that this came out extremely well. So when you look at it, it's one solid piece. There are like little bits here and there that are off. The one thing that broke off was the straw in the cup. But throughout the sculpture, normally when you fire it, or once in a while, you might get cracks, or perhaps you get the sculpture breaking. Those are things they do happen when you're sculpting in terracotta and you fire it. So this has been in the kiln for about 2 days. I fire it in very low temperatures, and then I gradually work up the temperatures to the final temperature. This is what it looks like when a sculpture is fired. If you can hear that, this is extremely solid. This lasts for thousands of years. You know, there's sculptures that are made in terracotta that are still around. They're extremely durable, and this medium is beautiful. The terracotta itself is extremely pretty, and if I lift it up, it's fairly heavy. It's not a very super heavy sculpture, but it is heavy. If it was plaster, it would be a lot lighter. So I just wanted to give you a look to see what the sculpture looks like before I do it. The only thing that broke off, which is rare, is that little straw right here because it's so fragile. And it broke off, but it was fine. The fries are all in good shape. Now, at this point, you have to kind of ask yourself, what are you going to do with a sculpture? Are you going to leave it like this? Now, there's nothing wrong with leaving the sculpture like this. This is the metallic paint. It's a bronzer, so it's oxidizing bronze paint, and it's made by Modern Masters Metal Effects. They have different types, but this is what I picked. And there are directions in the back. Basically, they ask you to put 2 coats of this. And what this is, it's simply the green patina solution. And you use that over metal effects, oxidizing copper or bronze paint. So what I like about this particular thing is that it really tarnishes the copper. And this is the copper paint. So normally, of course, you cannot tarnish and age copper paint, the one that you would get at the art store. So it needs to have the actual metal in there. And that's what this is. I'm gonna shake it up. This was very expensive. So I have the bottle here, and I have a brush. And what the instructions call for is 2 coats of this. 1 coat goes on, and you let it dry for about an hour, and then you put another coat on, and while it's still wet, that's when you apply the patina. So this first coat, and I want to make sure I shake this quite a bit because there's metal in this paint. We're going to start applying this paint. First time ever doing this, and it's I don't want to make it too thick. I just want a nice coat of this. Now I could probably use a bigger brush, but we're just going to go and cover the entire sculpture with this really cool, very expensive paint, and hopefully I'm not going to regret buying this. All right, first coat is done. Now I'm going to wait about an hour, and then I'm going to add another coat. The first coat has dried, and now it's time to apply the second coat, and at the same time, I'm going to apply the patina. So let's go ahead and paint in the new second coat. And I'm going to apply it differently using just a small bottle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the patina, and what I'm going to do is just spray the patina, which is an acid, onto the sculpture. So this is just the acid solution that reacts to the paint. Okay, and I think that's pretty much all we need here.
All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3. Check, baby, 1, 2. Check, baby, 1.
Let's go, the one shaker. The beach is like sweeter than candy. I'm feeling manly and your shaker's coming in handy. Sliding my claws from New York down by your Virginia. Tickling you around Delaware before I enter. Dose to seduction from faces.
I'm not quite sure what to think of it yet. Maybe it'll grow on me. I need to let it dry overnight. So I applied the acid. You can see it actually creates very realistic sort of age patina, which is exactly what we want. But I'm kind of curious, like I try to apply more paint here and then hit it with more patina, and it doesn't seem to do much. I think because in the shoulders and the rise here, the patina kind of just rolls off, and it really patinas this area. Anywhere the water or the patina kind of stays, that's where it ages it. So I did add a little bit more to the face. You have to add a little bit of paint and then the patina and a little bit to the hand. And let me just turn it around. There's still some spots that are wet. So here's the back. Exactly what weathering would do to a sculpture outside. The water will just run off and create like this oxidation. But I am having a little bit of an issue here. If you look over here in the hair, there's none. So I'm kind of like going back and forth with it. And right over here where it pulls in, there is a really interesting algae green sort of color in there. But it's kind of interesting to have like so much right here concentrate, but not here. So that's the part that I find just a little confusing. I wish it patined in some other areas. Maybe I'm just not applying enough of the patina coat, but I did this over and over in the parts that were not really working. So I'll probably do this a little bit, apply a little bit more of the Mother Masses bronze coat, but I kind of like the way it looks. Even without the patina, I believe this is kind of like a very successful paint for a sculpture. I think the only thing that you might want to consider doing is adding some sort of clear coat on top, and there's various clear coats that you can use. There's brush on coats, and then there's spray coats. I'm probably going to use a brush on coat after this dries just to kind of seal it up. At this point I'm going to use a little bit of shoe polish. You know, shoe polish has got a little bit of wax, and this one is black. You could use brown or whatever you prefer, but I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to tone down the sculpture. I'm just going to use this and just kind of brush on this to kind of tone down just a little bit of the patina. And you don't have to do it in all the spots, but if there's anything that kind of stands up, just stands out a little bit too much, this is good to use. You can see I'm toning down, but I'm not losing the patina. So my goal is just to push it down a bit. Yeah, it's kind of funny that it takes a lot of work to finish up these sculptures. You know, you think that you're just sculpting, but even after you're done sculpting, you're also doing this. So it's one of these processes that you just have to learn to deal with. This is what I'm going to be applying next. It's New England brown wax. This is a really good wax. It's expensive, but it's worth it. So when I add it, it does seem like it gets rid of a lot of the patina, but it does come back. So if you just kind of pay attention, it will come back. And with this, any sort of wax, you have to take your buffing and just do this quite a bit to get the right amount of shine, I guess, to the sculpture. Well guys, that's pretty much how you stain a sculpture, a terracotta sculpture. To be more specific, remember, if your sculpture does crack somehow or break somewhere, there is one really good thing that you can use. It's air dry terracotta clay, and you can just kind of fill it up and then it will cover it. But in this sort of process, the whole point is to create a patina of some kind that kind of hides all the imperfections. And also, another really nice thing about this sort of patina, or any patina with acrylic paint or whatever, is that it feels much better to the touch, and it just has a really nice finish to it. Now, if you want to keep going, you can take a cloth and just keep polishing it. Just make sure that it's a nice soft cloth. I'm not using it right now, and you can kind of shine whatever you want and make it look like a much nicer sculpture. That brown wax is extremely good. I really like it, and it actually makes you not even need a clear coat on the sculpture. But I think one of the more successful things about the sculpture is the skull. I like the thing that I did was to keep the skull very abstract. I didn't put a lot of detail. In the past, what I have done is just create sculptures and I try to like push them into like this kind of realistic theme. But often I find that you don't need that much. You should have like a realistic part and then just kind of branch out into the more abstract. So that's kind of like my goal with this. And that's pretty much how you stain a sculpture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.